Hello everyone. Yes, excuse the same sort of top you may have seen in a previous video. No, before you ask, have I been swapping t-shirts out and filming all of these on one night? No, because you'd be surprised how tiring these videos get. Weirdly, I know it sounds weird, chatting to yourself can be tiring, but it can. And for starters, I've also changed positions because I think this might be a better angle actually. Although it doesn't look like a good angle for me actually, which is weird. But anywho, and that. So, we're here for tattoo number 8. Tattoo number 8, and if anyone's been sort of keeping an eye on this sequence, you might have realised, ding ding ding, yes, we have got this beast and a half. And believe me, this tattoo does have a few names. So yes, we're finally talking about this mammoth beast, literally. And that, of course, I'll insert some photographs of it as well, so you can get an even better look. But yeah, this tattoo, now this one does have quite a personal story that I must admit I'm quite looking forward to telling this. So for starters, I mean, some people may look at that and think, well, that looks fairly realistic. I mean, yes, it is edging more on the realism side, but that can't be a real beast because it's purple or got a purple hue about it. You would be correct. This is my third, and well, unless of course something else happens majorly when it comes to that for me, probably this would be my third and my last gaming tattoo. Yeah, Skyrim, Witcher 3. Actually, no, that's not quite true. I've just realised. Yeah, giving you another little microscopic hint. No, there might be one more that might come in the future, but that I haven't completely decided on yet. So it might be the last one, it might not. And that. And this is my ding ding ding. This is my World of Warcraft tattoo. Yes, unfortunately, I mean, I never would like to say that I have quit WoW or Warcraft forever, but I must admit, in the last couple of years, I seriously have, like, you know, lost the baton, if you know what I mean. It's been mostly money, but also in the last few years, weirdly, ever since well, not quite since my dad died, but almost since then. You know, I mean, first I did have to take some time off due to my dad's bereavement, but due to my dad's death, but and that, but I have got the latest expansion. It's just more it has been time and also money playing, but I do plan to go back to it. I mean, of course I do. It's just I just don't know when. But let's just say I started playing it in January of 2010. Yes, I was a Wrath baby. And I pretty much played almost completely solid for, I don't know, until well into 2019. Apart from maybe occasionally, like near Christmas or whatever, I might just take a month off here and there or something, you know, literally at that sort of time of year because I was so busy and preoccupied and everything and that. But yeah, and it has been a major part of my life for that, and like I said, I do plan to go back to it. I just don't know when exactly. And that, and once again, it was my best friend who, funny enough, who brought Lincoln Park into my life. He also brought this into my life. And what it actually is because my main character that I play is the class that they call her. She's a hunter. And hunters, when you get to, well, back in my day, you used to get be able to tame your pet, because that's the way it works. You have yourself, but you also had a companion pet that could help you in combat and all of that lot. And you could tame it at 10. And when I got to level 10, this was the very first pet that I ever tamed in Warcraft. And you know what? I've had so many fun moments and fun experiences in that game with her. I mean, I've even got you know, actual in-game friends that have had encounters with her too. And I nicknamed her Sarah in the game. And that don't ask me why. It's that is a bit of a personal reason. Not named after anyone I know. It's something else. And that and everything. And I had been wanting this tattoo for a while, and I always knew that when I would get it, I would definitely get it from Jim, my original artist who did these two. So yes, in case anyone's wondering, because I don't know if you've noticed or not, but no, I haven't got anything up at the top of my arm here. At the moment, it has been for a long time. This whole arm actually is Jim, but of course he did this one as well. And that. And the reason why I always knew I would go to him for this is because, I mean, as you can see, he does kind of count, in my opinion, as what I call a good all-round artist that can do a lot of things. But what he kind of specializes in is sort of cartoon, anime, those sorts of tattoos. And so when I was thinking of this, bearing in mind, as you know, I went and got my lockdown tattoo in that July. I think I might, if I recall, actually, yes, I think it was actually, or it might have been about then and that, but I don't quite know. I know I had notice on this tattoo, but I can't remember how much notice I had and that. Yeah, actually, guys, I thought it might be a good idea to check, and it's a good thing I did. Yes, no, I did actually have it a little far in advance. I messaged him primarily on about the 11th of July, and we were. It was quite a It wasn't the case of me just sending him the picture of the, you know, the beast from like the Warcraft thing, which is what I did, because he had a lot of trouble trying to figure out, well, how could I translate this actually into a tattoo, even though he was, you know, he specializes in cartoons and that. So after a lot of bouncing around, and I've just checked my messages again, we kind of, you know, we were bouncing back and forth with each other about, well, what if we can make it more, if we could take, say, like the shape of like a sort of a panther tiger, as you can see, make it a bit more realistic, but still give it the same look and that. And so you can see, oh yes, it's not a full-blown typical realism animal, it's a fantasy animal with a realistic look. And that's what we did. Yeah, and we settled on, yeah, everything by July 15th. I booked in on August 21st. So for all of you that might be watching these one after the other, think, wait a minute, so yeah, had that one on July 17th. Then I unexpectedly had my liver bird done on the 7th, and then I had this on the 21st of August. Yes, I got 3 tattoos in the space of, what, a fraction over a month. Yeah, and all I will say is there's one more in this bunch before I finally decided to take a rest, if you get my drift. But inadvertently, that next one, even I hadn't planned to get it done then. Basically, it was a last minute cancellation, or I would have been waiting 2 months, if you get my drift. So yeah, Oh, that's not good. So yes, carrying on with this. So that's what we settled on and all of that lot. And then he drew it up for me, although the one thing that did kind of drive me mad, and this is something I do kind of ask artists now, assuming that it's not a problem, if it's possible, can, when they draw something custom made for me, which is something I have been getting a lot more, you'll see this as it goes along, a lot more of my tattoos are custom drawn now and everything. If they can try and send me the design not only the night before, but maybe sort of early evening the night before, because I must admit that was the one thing I had with this, which probably didn't help very much. Not that it was my fault. I was so upbeat knowing, oh my god, what is this actually going to look like, that it actually kept me awake. And believe me, another rule of tattooing is you do need to get a really good night's sleep, because believe me, it definitely does help with the pain, keeping you going and all sorts. So yeah, good night's sleep and a big breakfast or lunch or whatever, depending on when your appointment is key, as well as taking drinks and snacks, which did I have to with this one, that's for sure. So yeah, so I went on Friday the 21st of August, and it literally was like, I don't know, just before, it wasn't far before I actually got into St. Ives that Jim finally sent me the design. And as you can imagine, I was just thrilled with it. I mean, when I first saw it, my first reaction, I was thinking, oh, that looks more like a sort of a realism sort of tattoo than I was expecting. But I like it. I mean, I loved it actually. And of course, immediately after he sent it, he said this was the only way I could sort of translate it, by making it a bit more of a realistic thing. And I could actually see him where he was coming from this. But also I thought, well, actually, probably getting a more realistic... Sorry about that, guys. Just move my light. I'm just conscious of the light glare and all of that. Look, so yeah. There we go. Oh, actually, there we are. And that's so. I will apologise, guys. This is definitely probably going to be a 20-minute video at least, I would say. And that, but I actually thought a more realistic side of it probably will actually look better going forward, as well as the fact that of course, but I do still remember that the one thing that actually I did ask him, because what he did is he obviously drew it on an iPad. A lot of tattoo artists are actually drawing on iPads and that and everything. So he sent me, you know, the drawing via his, well, not literally via his iPad. I think he took a photograph of his iPad with it on and that. And I do remember, and that, do you know, I really hope that this is not blurry, guys, because it actually does look a bit blurry on my camera. There we go, guys, that's better. And that, so yeah, the only thing I do remember I did ask him is when I first saw the first design, and that I did find that the you know, the long teeth that a lot of animals have, they were really long. And I remember that was the only thing that was bugging me. And here's another piece of advice: if anyone's watching these and they're trying to get advice for their first tattoo, don't feel like if you see a design and you feel, actually, I don't like that, or if there's some parts of it, believe me, speak to your artist. They will seriously not mind if you do not like the design. It's a lot worse than getting it and then getting it lasered or covered up and that. Remember, this is on your body for life. So the only thing I remember asking is to him, and I said, is there any chance you could just make the little fang teeth just a little bit shorter? They're just a bit too long for me. And literally, I think within 5 or 10 minutes, I think he literally just messaged me back saying, how's this? And as you can see, yeah, they're much in proportion. I mean, they only end like literally where his sort of chin ends, where they literally were like halfway down the ground, if you know what I mean, on the original one. And that, so of course, I the only thing I do remember I also did differently on this one is because of the price that he quoted me, which if I remember correctly, I think it was I think it was about 200 to 240, but I don't think he charged me the max. I think in fact, actually, I think he did. I think I worked it out afterwards. I think he gave me a major discount, actually. One, because of, he'd known me for quite a while, but I think also he was, it was just being a good friend, because he tattooed me on quite a few occasions and that. I think it was less than 200, and that was also, including the deposit that I'd already put down. So it was something ridiculous, I remember, actually, on that. So, but no, I did ask him a couple of days beforehand, which I don't normally do, but I felt like in this case, I just didn't feel comfortable in carrying that much cash with me, because the one thing I'm paranoid about is I'm always got that fear that an ATM machine that's right near the studio, what if it's out of action and I can't get cash out? I don't know why. I've never had that problem, but it's always something that's in the back of my head. So what I've always done is I've always got the cash out either the day before and I've gone straight home, or I've got it literally just before I've got on the bus. So I've got it actually with me. But I didn't want to carry that my cash around with me. So I remember ringing the studio and saying, because of this, is it okay if I just pay the remaining amount on PayPal? And that was perfectly fine. So at least that was one thing I didn't have to deal with. And that, sadly, particularly on this occasion, considering how special this one was, my good friend wasn't actually at work at the time, which was a pain. But now he works in Greg's. That's the reason why I always go in there and get a coffee and a sausage roll afterwards and that and everything. But no, bearing in mind that this was, of course, during COVID times, do I remember it? Oh, yeah, queuing out the door with 2 meters apart, masks on, everything. But no, I deliberately went in there and I bought a big pack of sausage rolls, because I thought, you know what, that is actually good fuel that I could eat, because I knew that this was going to be a long session. Like, he said, yeah, this is probably going to take at least 3.5 hours, maybe even more. And he wasn't lying, that's for sure. So I did that, and then I went to Costa, got my usual thing and all of that lot, and then went to gym. And I don't know why, because I'd always told him that I wanted it on my bicep, but he thought maybe I meant like, oh, do you want to do it like across the arm and that? And of course he never said anything, but I think he probably realized, oh, she is not going to have an easy time of this, because I'm not sure if I've said it on a previous video, guys, but I love this tattoo. Do I regret it? No, I regret nothing about it. I love the placement, everything and that. But am I so glad that I never have to go through this again? Because I do genuinely call this my child labour tattoo, because all I'm going to say is, and I have the video as well that you can see this extensively and that, but oh my god, literally this was hell on earth. And unfortunately it wasn't one of those that literally, after, well, I suppose, can I say, did I settle into it and get used to it? No, not really. It sort of was the case of, yeah, it literally was hell. My only saving grace is the fact that, and I'll never know because I never like to ask him and that, but some people would say, my God, how many small, like little tiny breaks did you take through this tattoo? I actually really lost count. There were a couple that weren't just like 5-minute breaks. You know, there were a couple of like proper eat breaks, if you know what I mean. Although every time we stopped, I ate, because because I knew how much pain I was in, that I literally had to keep my body up, because the last thing I wanted to do was pass out. So all I'm going to say is Lucasade, Greg's sausage rolls, and salty crisps were my absolute lifesaver on this. And you know, and literally, I think if I remember correctly, yeah, we started at like 1. Well, I got there for 1, you know, fraction afterwards, and that it didn't take us that. I think I might have. Did I get there a bit early? But either way, I suddenly remember my appointment was 1 o'clock and I got there, but I don't remember lingering around for very long, if you know what I mean. And that, so yeah, and I remember we didn't finish until 5. So, but I can't remember how long we stopped for. But I always say roughly this was about a 4-hour tattoo, and it literally. Oh God, when I say that this literally was hell, it literally was. But this video is going to get pretty long, so as you can imagine, it literally, yeah. And it was the case of it kind of got worse as it went along. And I do wonder if Jim took more breaks, because the reason why I say it, I don't know if he did it for me and him. I know he has a bit of a back issue, so he has to keep getting up on a regular basis and that. But I think a lot of those breaks, I think, I mean, he never said anything, but I think my skin might have been battling under this a lot and everything. And he even at like one point, I don't know if he could tell I was in a lot of pain or if he could realise my skin was bad. He did say, you know, if you want to come back and finish this on another time, surely. Because the whole reason I got it there and then when I did is because he was moving up north. But he was commuting back to this. And I said, no, Jim, that's the last thing I want. I don't want to go through this pain again. I literally just want to get this whole done. And he said, yeah. And he completely understood that. And, you know, I mean, I'm surprised my skin wasn't literally cut to shreds by the end of it. But all I'm going to say is I remember vividly when it finished and that. And and I can't remember if he told me to like sit up, because as you can imagine, I was completely laid down because it was a bicep tattoo. Or if I just got up. Actually, no, I think he told me to, like, you know, just get up slowly. And this was something I've never had before. He said, literally, just sit there and don't do anything for a while. And of course, he went out for a smoke again and all of that lot. And I wasn't complaining. I was in no rush to get home. I told Mum I probably would be home late that evening. And I had dinner already prepped that I could have when I got home anyway. So, and I think now, looking back on it, I mean, maybe I should ask him and that, assuming if he can remember it, of course. But I do remember distinctly thinking that my arm felt, when I say on fire, I mean, there was this, but then there was this. And literally, it felt like my skin was physically radiating heat, if you know what I mean. And also, I mean, I can even see it on the initial photograph that I have, that's like literally that he took when it was all done and that. And I could see, and in fact I could even feel it, even though I didn't touch my skin, that my skin had already had a bit of a sort of a sticky feeling to it. And this was of course after he'd wiped me down and all of that lot. And I think what that probably was my body was already producing the plasma that it needed and all of that lot. And I think he let me sit there for about 15 minutes and all of that lot. And then of course what I did is I got my phone out and I did the whole PayPal thing and all of that lot. And because he looked after me so well, I remember I even gave him a small tip as well, which is something I don't normally do. Tipping in the UK isn't something we tend to do really, but it is appreciated, and I think he did appreciate that too. And then of course once I'd done that and everything, and then he wrapped me up in cling film. And I'm surprised I actually didn't feel worse than I did. I think all those sausage rolls and Lucozade stood me in good stead. But all I remember is by the time I got home, which was about an hour and 25, hour and a half later, I was very ready to clean this, put that second skin on it, and for the first time ever, it's not a surprise, I actually did swell up. And as he said afterwards, when I said, yeah, all clean, I've put some ice on it, because that's another thing that I do with brand new tattoos, and that he basically pointed out, yeah, that's not unexpected, Sharon. After all, you've had a lot of trauma in a very small area and a very tender area. And I must admit, yeah, I don't know why I was so surprised that I swelled up. Probably because it's the first and only tattoo that I've had that I've ever swelled up. But luckily, tattoo Facebook group came in handy. He said, yep, elevate it. So for example, this for the next couple of days, because it did take a couple of days before the swelling went down. That was my salvation. And when I went to bed with a pillow under it. Luckily, my mum's got some extra firm ones, so that was very helpful, and all of that lot. And then, yeah, left the second skin on it. If I remember correctly, I think I do recall, I think the itchy phase was really, really tough on this. But, yeah, but but no major problems with healing whatsoever. Second skin, and then I think it was cocoa butter again, I think, if I recall. I think I used, or vitamin E, like another vitamin E cream, and all of that lot. So yes, so that is the story of my child labour beast World of Warcraft tattoo. So I hope you guys like extra detail, because I do apologise for how long this video is. Take care, guys. Bye bye.